Okay, so I got a comment to make a video on how to deal with people that secretly hate you. And I'm not talking about like just regular strangers or anything. Like, I'm talking about people that you consider to be your friends that so clearly kind of hold something against you and you can't really pinpoint it and they're acting all weird about it. And I'm gonna give you guys a couple signs of if literally one of your friends secretly hates you and how to deal with that, how to navigate that, and what it actually means, because it's not exactly like what it looks like. There's like deep psychological explanations for why people act that way towards you. And personally, I've experienced it, and there's even been a point of my life where I could say that I've actually felt like that too. So it's a really complicated thing, and let's just get right into it so that I don't ramble for too long. Basically, if you've got a friend in your life and you think that they like secretly hate you, it's because in their heads they're secretly competing with you. So they don't actually hate you. They just basically have this like hostile attitude towards you because they essentially want to be you. And there are going to be situations in your life, and I wouldn't say this happens to everyone, but if you've experienced it and you know what I'm talking about, then you can obviously relate to that, or maybe you've seen it happen to somebody else. There are situations for people where there's going to be people that want to be friends with you, not because they want to be friends with you and want to be in your life, but because they literally want to be you. And the whole point of them wanting to be close to you is to literally study you and figure out personal details about your life, figure out how you operate, like different qualities about you, like what you do in your free time, just random stuff, so that they can essentially try to become you. And obviously that isn't ever going to work. Like, you can never be somebody else. Like, that's just not going to work. Like, you can't mimic energy, you can't imitate another person's essence. You can try to look like them, like you can dress like them, talk like them, whatever you want, but it's never going to work. And people can always see through that act of you essentially trying to become like another person. And I've seen so many, especially girls, I've seen a lot of girls do this, where they become like friends with another girl and they kind of like place her on a pedestal, and then they try to kind of become her in a certain way. And it's really creepy and it's very weird, honestly, but it all roots from insecurity. And this is unfortunately way more common than it should be, because there are a lot of insecure people around us, like men and women, doesn't matter. I'm just going to use girls as an example here, because I personally can't really speak about like how this kind of looks like for a guy. I just know how this looks like for a girl, because I've had friends literally act this way towards me, and I never understood it in the past, but now I get what was going on there. So basically, different signs of like if a person in your life is acting this way towards you is if they're not really happy for your successes and your wins. And it's very, very obvious to tell if a person is actually happy for what you have going for yourself. And it's just really simple to tell. Like, it's really difficult to fake a genuine reaction. Like, it's very hard to see that from someone. Like, we're not all like fucking great actors, you know? So if somebody is acting like they're happy for you, but you're kind of getting the impression that they're not, you're like, okay, that didn't look genuine. Like, oh, they kind of like dismissed my news really quickly. Like, their facial expression didn't really look happy. They kind of like shifted in their seat and looked uncomfortable for a second. Like, they didn't seem really happy about what I was telling them. And that is unfortunately pretty common. And maybe you've experienced that, where like you tell someone like something good that happened to you. Maybe you got a promotion at work. Like, maybe you just became friends with somebody you've been wanting to get close to. Maybe a post of yours did really well online, like, or some guy that you like wants you back, whatever the hell. And you're telling this friend that piece of information, and you can just tell they're not happy about it. Or another sign is if they take what you're telling them and they kind of somehow make it about themselves, not in a way where like they relate to it, but in a way where they kind of want to like feed off of your success. Like, imagine you tell like your friend that you're doing really well on social media, and then instead of them being like, wow, I'm so happy for you, like, I'm so proud of you, this is great, they start saying shit like, oh, can I like be in your next video? Like, can we film like videos together? Can we take like pictures and post it on your Instagram? Like, just like shit like that. Like, different examples of them trying to like get in on what you're saying. Or like, let's say like you told your friend that like you got invited to a party and you're really excited to go, and naturally when someone wants to invite you something, they would like do it on their own. You don't necessarily need to like, we should never be like pushing the person or like asking for an invite and inviting ourselves. But let's say like you tell your friend you got invited somewhere, and instead of them being like, oh my god, that's so cool, like, good for you, they just go, oh, can I come? Like, these are different examples of people basically wanting to be you in a sense, and they kind of like secretly hate you for it. And there are going to be times where you genuinely don't even know that the person kind of secretly hates you, but they do. And these are the little signs that make it obvious that they're secretly competing with you in their head. And it's like obviously a one-sided competition, like you're probably not even aware of it. But another sign of this would be if, for example, you guys are like, how do I explain this? Like, you're close with the person and you're telling them details about your life, but then let's say you kind of like withdraw and you don't say as much like details, and they make you feel guilty about it. Like, let's say I don't know how to explain this. You withdraw from the person for like a little bit, maybe you're just like busy with your life, you're doing different things, and they start getting upset at you for not like giving them the personal details about your life, or like not sharing as much with you, like not messaging you as much, just like stuff like that, where they're just kind of attacking you for not having enough time for them. And this is very different, like in different scenarios. Like, there might be a scenario where you actually are like being a shitty friend and you're not putting in enough effort with a person, but you're gonna know when it's the type where they're literally mad about you not giving them enough attention, because your attention is how they study you. Like, they can't take notes on you and your behavior and your personality and your personal details if you're not sharing anything with them. So they will literally get offended that you are not doing so. And honestly, just creepy if you ask me. Like, it's just flat out creepy. There's another really big sign is if you notice that this friend of yours just randomly gets hostile with you. Like, nothing happened, nothing is going on, and 2 seconds later they are just passive aggressive to you as fuck, and you can't even name a single thing that you did. And when you're like asking them what's wrong, they're just being a bitch about it, basically. Like, they're not even giving you like a proper explanation, like not kindly communicating. Like, they're just being like, oh, like nothing's wrong, like whatever, this, that, or they just start like blaming you for like random things. Like, if you notice that someone's attitude with you is constantly shifting, and it's like in a very like questionable way, where you're just kind of like, what is going on here, and why are they just mad at me 24/7, it's because they're literally secretly competing with you in their head. Like, I've genuinely experienced this firsthand. It's really just irritating, because you're just like, okay, you're my friend and you're constantly switching up on me. I don't understand what's going on here. And the thing is, in all types of relationships, whether it's a friendship, romantic relationship, whatever it is, it should be consistent in the amount of effort that the people are putting in. And it should be consistent in not only the effort, but also the attitude. So if somebody's attitude towards you is constantly changing, constantly shifting, one day they're happy with you, one day they're mad at you, one day they're upset with you, one day they're ignoring you, next day they're in love with you, does not make sense. If that is the case, there is something weird going on there. And if this is happening with a friend, 100% without a doubt, they are competing with you in their heads. No way they aren't. It's different if you're talking about like a romantic relationship. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about one-on-one friendships. If somebody is constantly switching up on you, there is something wrong, and they are competing with you in their heads. Now, I've had a situation like, I've actually had a couple situations like this, and I got legitimate proof that the people were competing with me in their heads, because not only did I hear it from another person that they genuinely confessed that, but there was also so many signs that I was like, there's no way this isn't the case. And I've done a lot of research on psychology. I've watched a lot of other women also talk about this topic, and from all the information I've gathered, it looks like those were also the cases with a couple other of my friendships. Now, I had a specific friendship where I felt like they were doing this with me, and I couldn't exactly pinpoint it, and I felt like I was going crazy. And this might be the case for like the person that's watching this as well. Like, you might feel like you're overthinking it and you're going insane, and maybe it's not what it looks like, and maybe they're just having a rough day, or maybe they don't like secretly want to kind of be you or like put you on a pedestal. Maybe that isn't the case, right? I felt exactly like that, to the point where it psychologically fucked with me so bad, to the point where I started kind of mirroring the behavior I was receiving, and I started feeling that way too. Like, because this person was competing with me and I had so many signs of thinking that way, I started like subconsciously competing with them too. Like something would happen to me and I would be like, oh wait, they're gonna find this like kind of interesting and they're gonna find this like really good for me. What if they want to get in on that? Like I can't let that happen. Like let me one up them. It was this like really weird psychological warfare, and I finally got myself out of that friendship. Like this is like a while back, like I'm talking a while ago, and let me just say my life completely shifted since then. Quality 100 times better, confidence 100 times better. Like there were things that they were also triggering in me which I was triggering in them. And that's the thing with people like this and friends of yours that secretly hate you and are competing with you, because that's what it is. It is out of insecurity and triggers. So there's something in you, something in your personality, something in your looks that is triggering this person to act that way towards you. And what's ridiculous is you can even be in a worse situation than this person and they will still find a way to put you on a higher pedestal, because it's the way that they view you in their head. It's not about where you actually are in life, not about your position, 11:11 on my timer, not about your position in life, not about like maybe your relationship status, your social status, like how you're actually doing and feeling. Not about that. They genuinely make up a certain narrative of you in their head, making you sound maybe like 10 times better than you actually are, because that one trigger and that one insecurity has been basically expanded and over exaggerated so much to the point where they place you on the highest pedestal possible and find so many things to compete with you on and so many little things to basically nitpick at. And that's the issue here. Basically, it's just all insecurity, and you're probably not even doing something to trigger these people. It's just, it mostly happens to people that are very much confident in themselves. What I've noticed is that many women out there are not that confident within themselves. So when they see another woman that is, they basically can't comprehend how she is living her life like that and not giving like a flying fuck about what's going on with other people, and how she puts herself out there and how she takes care of herself and maybe even how she looks. They can't comprehend that, so they start getting triggered and then putting you on this very big pedestal of what they want to be like. And that's where all the problems come in, because then they start competing with you in their heads. You probably have no idea it's even going on. They start studying you in a way of spending more and more time with you. And you're going to notice these friends of yours, they're going to want to be around you 24/7, and they're almost going to want to keep you away from your other friends. Like they're low-key going to want to like gatekeep you from the rest of the world. Like they want to hide you from everybody else because they want you to themselves in order to study you and literally become like you. And I know this sounds like psychotic and insane, which it is. Like it's really crazy if you ask me. Like it's just mind-boggling how people would rather like, I mean, it's not that they rather, but how people are so comfortable with putting themselves in that position of being so insecure and clinging on to another person instead of working on themselves. And honestly, easier said than done, because working on yourself and building your confidence is not easy at all. And it takes a very, very long time, because we're constantly either healing or self-destructing from things that have happened to us in our past. So the way of healing is much harder than self-destructing. Self-destructing is very easy, and this is a form of self-destruction. Putting yourself down and putting someone above you and basically having envy and jealousy towards them instead of fixing your own problems is a form of self-destruction. And honestly, you guys, that's all I can think of in terms of like describing what this situation looks like. Now, if you're asking my advice on what to do about it, do nothing. Walk away, remove yourself from the situation. You're never going to get anywhere with these types of friends. And the specific comment I got, the person was also saying how they thought that the person that secretly hates them, they're thinking that like they hate them, which is literally a form of projection and mirroring. If somebody is thinking in that screwed up way towards you, like they're jealous of you, they're competing with you, and they hate you, because that is their mindset and that is all they know and that is all they've experienced and what they are currently operating at, they are naturally going to think that the person on the opposite side of the spectrum thinks the exact way towards them. And that's not accurate at all, obviously, because you're probably saying here like clueless, like, why does this friend have something against me? I didn't even do anything. We don't have any problems. Why do they act this way towards me? And why do they give me like signs that they don't like me? They're gonna naturally think that you don't like them because that's just the way that they're thinking. Like, and people very much expose themselves throughout what they say on the daily basis. If you just listen to them carefully and you watch how they act around other people and how they act with you, you're gonna catch on to something that is sketchy and that doesn't look right, and that's the case here. So basically my advice is literally just walk away. Like, I'm not gonna tell you to try to work it out with this person. 100% not gonna work. Not gonna work. You cannot be a good enough friend to them to get them to like and love themselves and work on themselves and then not have that attitude towards you. That's just not how it works. They have to figure that out themselves, and maybe you removing yourself from their life is the lesson that they need in order to figure out that problem and work on themselves in that way. Or maybe they won't. Who knows? All I'm saying is you cannot deal with these people. You cannot find a way around it. No matter how good of a person you are, no matter how good of a friend you are, and how much you are there for them, how much you care about them, all of your words of affirmations, like all the gifts you can buy, all the quality time you're spending, not gonna work. It is just not gonna work when that person's mindset is like that, and you can't change that. So you need to just walk away and remove yourself from the situation, because you're gonna get into a lot of problems with people like this. Like, you're gonna have issues with them. There are gonna be times where maybe they're literally gonna try to sabotage you in a way, or they're gonna try to bring you down, take you down, find ways to use your personal information against you, like your personal details, start rumors about you, anything, you name it, from X, Y, and Z. People like this cannot be trusted, and it is horrifying to think that you are sitting here and giving this person personal information about your life. Like, personal details about your life, you're giving to that person. Like, no. You can't do that with somebody that's not confident in themselves. You cannot have a friend like that. I do not recommend it. As screwed up as this may sound, do not surround yourself with insecure people, because not only are you going to fall into their mindset, but since they're going down, they're genuinely going to take you down with them. So my advice, walk away while you can. Pull yourself out of that situation. I don't care if you want to give them an explanation or not, or if you want to leave without giving them any word. Do it. Doesn't matter. Just remove yourself from the situation, because people like this cannot be trusted. They should not be in your circle. They should not have access to you. It's going to backfire on you. It's going to drain your energy, and you're going to notice that very much. And that is also the last thing I would say to pay attention to, is how you feel around them and how you feel after them. If you're leaving the house and you feel good about yourself and you are so excited, and then you come home from being with this person and you feel like shit, that's a sign as well. Walk away. Save yourself from the pain and the lesson of learning it the hard way, because trust me, I have been there multiple times, different sizes and fonts, and it has been a shit show every single time. So do not do this to yourself. If you recognize these signs in a friend in your life, take off while you can, because it's just not going to end well. Anyways, you guys have a great night.